And I'm live and in living color. Let me fix myself, adjust myself. I'm Dr. Allie. I'm wearing my sister shirt. Sister is, what is this? Sisterin Speech Therapy and Audiology. Wearing my speech and audiology shirts for the sisters that are out there. Hello. All right, so we are going to be talking successful business strategies today. I had an amazing live earlier, which spoke a lot about mindset shifts. So if you need to catch that, jump back into the look back at the previous videos. Also, yesterday I did day one. Let me sip some water. I did day one where I began to speak about your offer and how you can take your ideas or your uniqueness or who you are, your gifts, your expertise, and create some simple offers out there, and how we don't have to create it and make it super hard, how we get it out there, get it in front of people. I share some additional strategies that I used with my clients, and also I use myself repeatedly. Today is all about monetizing you, and how can you take what you do, who you are, and create different types of revenue streams, right? I'm coming from that professional end. Just so you have know a little bit about me, I am an audiologist, speech language pathologist. I went to school, feels like forever. I'm also an autism mom, multiple author, TEDx speaker, love to host and train retreat hosts in having events, experiences that are profitable and are also impactful. So that's a little bit about me. I shared a little bit more yesterday. I shared as seen on and where I've been seen, so that you know that there's some street cred in the whole process. And I'm not just here yapping my mouth, but I'm actually coming because I've been doing this for a minute in different spaces. I've worked with many different people, been blessed to be coached by the greats in terms of Steve Harvey, Tony Robbins, Lisa Nichols, Dean Dean Graziosi, have masterminded with millionaires and beyond. And I'm just an autism mama from Brooklyn, New York, with a Caribbean background that now owns a home in Aruba. Weird. And I'm now hosting private retreats and masterminds in my home in Aruba. So I'm super excited about this next level. So let me share a little bit how that happened and the streams that have evolved from that. People ask, how did I decide to move into business? And as I begin to share my journey, I want you to think about and ask questions as you pop in, or as you catch this on replay. I'll make sure I check back in and see how I can support you with answers. Literally, just being a professional out there and having a son with autism started in the Steve Harvey, Lisa Nichols world, motivating the masses, where I was coached by the amazing Lisa Nichols and Susie Carter into utilizing the things that have happened in my life to help others. What they did not know was that in the midst of all this business stuff, I was an autism mom. So they were like, how are you doing all of this? Like, how are you out here helping us and navigating spaces? And you got a son on the autism spectrum. And I explained to them, I have an amazing family network, and we have a system, we have a process. And through the system and process, I'm able to still get lots done, as well as the amazing relationship that I have with my son, who's now 18. When I got started in this space, I believe he was about 7 or 8, seven-ish, 8-ish. And it was hard initially because I'm doing this while parenting as a single mom. Let me take a sip. Audiologist, speech pathologist, always got to keep the throat lubricated, so I don't get nodules. So in that space, we unfolded the book, and that's where Our Amazing Gift, A Journey to Autism Acceptance started. So for those of you out there who don't think you can create a book or think you have anything to share, just know I started from simply sharing my experience. I've worked with families with autism for years, and I had my own son with autism, and I had a success path that people seemed to like, and they began to ask questions, of. So they began to ask me, well, tell me more about parenting autism. Tell me more about communication with autism. Tell me more about language and development, and how are you able to have such a connectivity and a relationship with your son while you're doing all that you're doing. So I spent some time just kind of breaking it down and speaking about first me beginning to learn how to accept him, acceptance of autism. Like I worked with others, but I never had to really understand how it was to deal with it in my own life, and that became the growth process. And as I did it and I wrote about it in Amazing Gift, and then I shared strategies as a speech language pathologist on how I use communication, and how I went through my stages of acceptance. I remember taking the word amazing, breaking it down amazingly, breaking it down into 10 steps, right? I took the word amazingly, AUMAZINGLY, 10 steps, amazingly. Accept differences, unique, embrace their unique, mindset shifts. I was talking about mindset shifts even from 8 to 9 years ago when the book was released, right? Attach, how to build attachments. Amazing. What am I up to? Zestful living. How to still have a life and live as a parent, navigating the space. Forgot what the I was, but noise, noise, how you have to reduce the noise that's around you was the N. The G was, like, I wrote this book so long ago, but I literally took all the letters and I broke it down into words, and then I broke it down into phrases. And these were the 10 strategies that I shared that I did every single day. So when you think about how are you going to monetize your expertise, and think about the simple things that you have around you, we started with the book, and from the book also became the video series, which now you guys would consider that a course, right? Taking something that you have already, you produced. The book itself was not handwritten, so I'm gonna give you that tip. I did a lot of an interview style type of writing, and I worked with, at that time, Kid Publishing, and using that to take everything outside of my head. We now have AI, right? So using the strategies and the tools around us, and then tweaking it, right? So I had to tweak it. The first book I didn't love so much. It came out, had lots of errors inside of it. It was my first, right? So taking that and then developing it and having a second edition. So sharing with you the way that you can take your lessons, the things that you've been in, that you have been through, creating a product such as a book, or creating something that shares more about your expertise or who you are and how you show up, and monetizing that, right? Really using that to go out there and make some money. You just sell the book. I mean, you're not selling, the book is not for you to become a millionaire, but it definitely is a way of bringing in some revenue just based on your own life experience. And if you do need support with that, please let me know. I do a book camp twice a year, where I support you in completing your book, completing your ideas, completing, your thoughts, and making sure you create something, and put it out there into the world. And then using that book and creating other things around it. Now, I've spoke about this countless times for the last amount of years. So those who have heard a little bit about it, I've developed it more, because now there's other things that we could do for multiple streams of revenue. We got the book. The book can then become a product or a course. With that, you can also take that and turn it into speaking engagement. You can turn it into classes or workshops, right? So the same concept that you have inside of that book, you now use that as material, educational material, or your what will go along with you speaking or teaching. So now these are all different revenue streams. Here's the book. You're finding something that the world needs, that you have been through, that solves problems, right? So that's the three things that needs to happen as you're creating that. You're utilizing that as one revenue stream. From that, you're then creating the course out of that. And you got lots of AI tools that can help you. If you need support, let me know. I do VIP days, and I help people navigate that space of how to do it. creating your course, creating that digital product can all happen from that book. From that, you're also doing workshops. It could be in-person workshops. It can be virtual workshops. It could be digital and digitally created and e-workshops. So, and you can show up at these workshops at conferences, right? So now you're taking this workshop and you're speaking, right? Here's another fourth multiple stream. You're taking this and you're speaking all over at conferences, places that relates to your book that needs this information. So we're looking at conferences, we're looking at professional spaces that will pay for speakers. You're looking at conventions, you're looking at people who you know that are hosting events and experiences. You're looking at going on Eventbrite and finding out what's happening around meetups, Facebook events. You're looking at what's happening that relates to your product or to your book, that you can be a beneficial person in that room. They need you. And I need you to understand this concept that they need you, and you need to use who you are and what you do. And now you taking your expertise out of your head and putting it into this product of a book and or course and or workshop, now going out there and speaking about it. There's that other revenue of how you're going to be doing that. Then people want you to teach them, right? So here's the part for those who want to coach and those who want to consult. You can create a small group, right? You can do a one-to-many concept. You could do a one-on-one, which is VIP. People who don't want to work with groups. How many of you are like that? Some people, I don't want to do it in front of groups. Just give me a small, I want one person. I need to work with one person. So you could do a VIP session and or do a one-on-one consulting coach. That's your fifth revenue stream. And just helping them with this information. You're still working, you're still helping, it's still the book, it's still you taking this information of who you are and bringing it out there and helping others while still monetizing. Then you have the one-to-many. So now they don't want it one-on-one, they want it as a group. So now you're creating either smaller masterminds, you're creating academies, you're creating more spaces that you can do one-to-many. You can meet with smaller groups and teach it as a course. So this is how, that's what 5 and 6, that we're still bringing in multiple streams of revenue, all based from this idea of a book of who you are. And you may not even need to start with the book. You can start as an ebook, you can start as a guide, you can use other I like tangible spaces, because once it's tangible, we can now really use it for more than just it being digital. But I get it. The world likes digital. You can do whatever works for you. You don't got to follow this, but do what works for you. So now we're up to number 7. So now we got JVs, people who want to come in and say, hey, if you come and speak or do here or train here, we can share percentages of this product, of whatever revenue that's coming in. So now we're doing more affiliates and we're doing more joint ventureship, all based on the book. And there's other ways that you could do JVs and partnerships through that. I'm just keeping it super simple because I want to share things that you can work with. And of course, if you need more information on each one, reach out and I can definitely support you with that inside of our MySpace now. Inside of MySpace, and we can figure out what that looks like. So here we go. We landed on what? I think we're at about number 8 once you did JV. Number 9, if you did partnerships. The next thing that we can do is going to be live events and experiences, retreats. Can you do a retreat based on a book? Absolutely, you can. You can absolutely do that. You can take any one of the chapters out the book and use that as a theme, like accepting differences retreat, mindset shift retreat, zestful living retreat. Like those are some of the chapters in my books that I could have used towards just focusing on that part, or just amazing gift retreat. Or what I did was Biz Beach retreat, because I love vacationing. I love business. I love vacationing and doing business on the beach. And I love the collaboration of both. So just making sure I had access to both made it super easier for me to just plan and to create something outside there. Let me make sure that I'm live, because I see some people that are trying to reach out to me. Yeah, okay, great. Everything is going well. All right. So as I did that, So that's about what, 9 or 10 different ways and how you can take an idea, you can take a concept, and you can get it out there. You have AI, which you can you, AI, which you could then lead it into other spaces, and you can ask them questions. You can throw your book in there and suggest what other type of multiple streams of revenue can I use using the book. Now you don't even have to use your head anymore. You can literally put it into AI, and it will tell you different opportunities. But I wanted to keep this super simple. I wanted to keep this so that you have simple business success strategies that can help you to monetize simply being you, that I've done repeatedly, that I'm going to do with my son, that I've done in different aspects. He has his coloring book. I am reliable, responsible, and really useful. And you can get that at zacharybernadine.com. And using the coloring book, he has spoke places. We've sold it as places. It has been used as training material, as an affirmation space, and it's a cartoon book, a comic book, coloring book. So there's so many things that you can do out there. There's so many things that you can do out there. The key is don't limit yourself. Get the help as you need. Don't be afraid of trying and failing. And when you do fail, accept it and dust off, modify it, tweak it, and get back in the game and do it again and try it again. A lot of successful people have had lots of glitches in the matrix before they have become where they are. You just have to trust yourself. You have to allow yourself to go through the different stages. And for me, what really helps, every year, every 2 years, I make sure I'm aligned with a coach. I get super clear on what I'm doing. I pivot and I allow myself to grow. I don't like to be in the same place I was last year. I like to move on to the next level of what God has in store for me so I can continue living in purpose and creating profit, as well as making sure I have multiple impact to those who are around me. Um, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do those things, and just don't be shy. Make sure that you get the support as you need. Uh, okay, you're gonna go and get it. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Just call her back. Just call her back so you can get a reminder. That's my son asking questions, and I will stop to answer my son, which I absolutely love. So back to me as I help you. One of the things that I'm super blessed about is okay. Just making sure that we work in. One of the things I'm super blessed is that I can do this from my home, right? As I have a profession, as I have an investor, a lot of things I can do after work. I can do it on the weekends. There's times when it may feel like it's a lot and it's overwhelming. And time, how you maximize your time, how you schedule your time, your relationship with time will matter. Your relationship with your energy and what you can put out will matter, and you are going to have to invest someplace in the game, right? I can share all the strategies and how you could do it for the lowest amount of investment. However, as you begin to move to different levels, you are going to need to invest some level. What comes in will come out if you do the work. And one of the things that I tell myself is nothing from nothing is nothing. So you got to put in something so you can get back a lot of something. And to me, I think that investment in time, money, and energy is part of being a successful business person. I think being open to owning what's not for you, and growing into what unfolds to be you. So we may start off in one space or with one thing, and then we need the additional support to help us to pivot, right? Because as I did the autism communication and the parenting, it then unfolded into the business coaching, which then unfolded to masterminding, and then having an executive set of clients that I was working with, which then unfolds to the next level. And it gets scary when we start in one space and and God moves us through, and we're like, oh man, where are you taking me now? This wasn't where I started. I don't want to look like if I'm confused and all over the place. And that was part of my concern, is that I was always nervous. Do I look like if I'm all over the place? But then I had to remind myself that I'm not all over the place. I'm strategically implementing the things that God has intentionally for me to do, right? And it is all combined, it's all connected. And when I feel scattered, I get clear. I think that was the key for me. Whenever I feel scattered and I feel confused, I would go back to my coach at that time, go back to my mentor, my mastermind at that time. And mostly always I like my one-on-one coaching sessions, just so I can get myself back into gear, make sure I am clear and moving forward. The clearer you are, the more confidently you can move forward. When you're confused, you tend to move forward with hesitation. So I began to realize that investment for me helped me to be more confident in how I moved. And of course, I am only invested with people who I was aligned to, who I knew really, really cared about me and the success of myself, the success of my son, the success of my idea and the vision that God gave me. They believed in that, and they were able to help provide different strategies along the way. So I will continue to remind you, don't do this alone. Continue getting the help, continue unfolding, and understand that you have the ability to have access to multiple streams of income. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't look like everyone else, right? If it doesn't look like everyone else, if it has its own unique spin, um, if you're questioning it and you're doing it with fear, because a lot of us, we do it with fear, it's okay. Keep moving forward, keep trusting in yourself, keep believing in the idea. If you're doing it for 10, 20 years and you're not seeing the success, that's why I say check back in every year or so. Check back in, go get some coaching, go with someone who has proven success. Get clear. Like, don't be out there blind and just doing it. Like, I'm just going to wing it. Winging it isn't going to help, right? What's going to help is somebody looking individually at your business, at you, making sure it's aligned and that you're making the best decisions for what is next. Now, I have a lot of people that come to me with Coach Hurt who've been places, who've invested in spaces, and they feel they did not get back what they put in. And one thing I like to tell you, and I'm gonna use this time to speak on it. One thing I like to tell you is you get in, you get out what you put in, right? And to be that person that's pointing fingers at other people when you're not pointing it back on yourself. So every program that I've invested in had 80% to do with me and 20% to do with them. They were used as guidance, they were used as help, and they were used as the person who helped me to get clear into the planning aspect of it. I had to implement. I had to be steadfast. I had to accept my responsibility. I had to hold myself accountable. It's on me. So when you go out there and you invest in spaces, and they give you the material, whether they give it to you in a live session, whether they give it to you in digital session, if they didn't give you anything, now that's different, because they gotta, if there's an exchange in revenue, exchange in money, you should be getting some training and support. So that's the first thing. But most coaches they will give you the work and they will give you the plan and they'll give you things that you can do, really, most credible coaches. But it's on you. Like, it's on you. They're not gonna do the work, right? They're not gonna do the work. They're not gonna be the ones that's executing the plan. They're not gonna be the ones. And when we're out here and we say we're gonna do things, like, I want to do this multiple streams of revenue, I want to do this thing. It took me darn near 4 to 5 years to have all of that out, right? And consistently. And then it took glitches and dips, and it went like this at times. And it was okay, because in the end, it was based on me, my effort, my ability to tweak, my ability to pivot, and me being consistent, right? Me being consistent, even if it looks different, even if no one is watching live, even if one person is watching live, even if 100 people are watching live. The key for me is to be consistent and do the part what I have to do, and not sit there blaming others when you don't get the results that you think you should be having. Go back and check, do that self work and self check and self assess you first. And I say to myself, okay, did I have a plan before I start? Was the plan clear before I start? Did I do my research before I started? All right. So that's still on me, even though I may have met with my coach and did that with them. Did I execute it the way I said I was going to do it? Was I consistent in doing it? Did I track when it didn't work and changed the method of how I was going to do it again? Or did I just give up the first time it didn't work? There was a time I launched a course. I think it was launch your own business, launch your own brand. LYOB was my academy. It was after Power Moves Academy, Movers Academy, and then had 50 million academies at different times. And I remember going to a coach at that time and investing in support and getting some steps on the launching process, and what I needed she gave me, but then it was left up to me to do it. So I did it the first time and I didn't get the results I wanted. I think I probably got maybe close 2 people or something that moved into the program. I remember going back to her and like, Coach, hey, I did the work. Here it is. I did it, and only 2 people. She said, did you do the follow up? Did you do it again? Did you run that program? Did you run that it was a onboarding system, which was at that time it was a masterclass or a live session. Did you do it again? Or did you just stop at one? Did you do the follow-up work in terms of who attended or who didn't attend or who showed interest or whatever the follow-up process that we had at that time? Did you do it? But I was like, no, I felt so discouraged that doing it the first time didn't give me the results that I wanted. And I did all this work and invested all this money, and only 2 people said yes. And I was, oh, whoa, it's me. Yay, it doesn't stop there. So I went back in, I did it, I relaunched it again, and I did the invitation and blah, blah, blah. Boom, here comes another 6 or 7 that said yes. And as I'm watching the results grow, simply from my persistence, simply from my consistency, simply from taking the errors, looking at how can I pivot and do it again, and then do it again. And every time I did it, more would come. Every time I did it, there'd be times when someone would come, and there are times when some are here, just like this YouTube channel. There'll be times when I have lots of people that are following and watching and participating, and there are times when there are not many. But I'm gonna show up to the same capacity as I would, regardless of whoever is on the other side, because I gotta stand in my purpose and I have to do my work, because I cannot sit down and blame others when I am not monetizing my genius, my uniqueness, my gifts, because it's left on me to do. So, as I begin to wrap up, I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope you take away from this what you need to take away from it. Write down whatever that you need to write down. Leave your takeaways. What resonates the most with you? What is it that you feel that you yourself want to hold yourself accountable for? Like, you got to hold yourself accountable. I'm going to come here and I'm going to coach you and I'm going to support you and I'm going to create plans with you, but you got to put in the effort and you got to do the work. It's up to you, right? It's up to you. And it's very, very possible. If I did it with all the hats that I wear, and so show up at the end of the night when I'm tired, when I feel like, oh my gosh, it's been a long day, but I'm still going to show up, do 30 minutes, come in, tell my story, teach my story, share my story. If I'm willing to consistently do this, and I have been doing this monthly, every single month, in Facebook book or on Zoom or different spaces, since I have pretty much started over close to 10 years now. If I'm doing it, then you can too. Don't sell yourself short. Don't allow what's in between here to stop you. Don't allow the fact that you don't think you don't have enough money to get started. Don't allow the concept that, oh, I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to do it right. Don't allow your doubts to prevent you from showing up the way God has for you to show up. He is the only one that will provide, but he is making sure that you do the work. You got to do the work in the process. All right. Hope you appreciate this. Hope you receive this. I'm going to end up sharing this out with my tribe and the crew and all that, but I wanted to make sure that it was safely created inside this space. Take care.